nervosa merupakan kecelaruan pola makan dengan cara membuat dirinya berapa tetap lapar, self-starvation. Anoreksia nervosa adalah seseorang yang menahan lapar dengan sengaja untuk menjadi kurus dan telah mengalami penurunan berat badan yang sangat ketara sehingga membahayakan dirinya sendiri.
Pick it all up and start.
Faktor penyebab kepada anoreksia nervosa meliputi faktor biologi, emosi dan kognitif. Namun, slot ini akan memfokuskan kepada faktor biologi dalam kewujudan anoreksia nervosa. Faktor biologi memainkan peranan penting dalam kewujudan anoreksia nervosa. Sebenarnya, apa yang berlaku di dalam diri seseorang?
Here we go. One of the major differences seen in brains of people with eating disorders is in the neurotransmitter serotonin. And here we see a very general outline for two major neurotransmitters, serotonin and dopamine, both of which undergo significant changes in the brains of people with eating disorders. But for now, I'm just going to cover serotonin. Serotonin is synthesized in a cluster of tiny regions called the RAF nuclei, located in the brainstem, which we see here in this model of the brain at the bottom. This small set of nuclei sends signals containing serotonin pretty much, well, everywhere. And so its function is very extensive because it spreads all over the brain, and so it's related to things like mood, cognition, memory, sleep, but most importantly for our conversation, eating. The molecular precursor to serotonin, or the thing that serotonin is made out of, is tryptophan. And the only way to get tryptophan is through your diet. So if your diet is bad, well then, you won't get enough serotonin. Now, it's not that having a bad diet leads to less serotonin, which then leads to an eating disorder. In fact, it's somewhat the opposite, that eating disorders are thought to be disorders of too much serotonin, and that restricting eating might actually be a way of controlling that. Dysfunction or malfunction in the serotonergic system leads to a number of behavioral pathologies, and there's extensive evidence indicating that the level of serotonin receptors, or the molecules that serotonin binds to produce effect on your nervous system, change drastically with eating disorders. There are many different types, but I'm going to focus on the two primary ones, the 5-HT, which is just short for serotonin, the 5-HT1A receptors, which are most often inhibitory, meaning that when serotonin binds to it, there will be a general decrease in neural activity. The 5-HT1A receptors increase in prevalence by about 50 to 70% in certain areas of the cortex compared to healthy people, specifically in the orbitofrontal cortex, parts of the parietal cortex, and the cingulate regions. Mesial temporal regions, so things like the hippocampus and the amygdala, as well as the dorsal RAF nuclei itself, where serotonin is synthesized. 5-HT2A receptors, which tend to be excitatory, resulting in more neural activity, tend to be decreased in many of these same regions. Now, what does all this mean? Well, disrupted neurotransmitter function ultimately leads to disrupted neural activity in the brain regions that it's disrupted in. The relationship between various different serotonin receptors and behavior is pretty complicated. Studies comparing serotonin function during and after the diagnosis and treatment of eating disorders indicates that these serotonin receptor differences last well after the disorder has been dealt with, indicating a strong influence and role that genetics have to play in the disorder. Now,
for 15 years, you were a normal, happy kid. And one day you stopped eating.
Help, I have done.
I'm not hungry. again.
Oh, I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry.
And
I was hungry at first, then after a while I got used to it, I guess. And the more I thought about it, the more I figured if I don't need lunch, maybe I don't need breakfast or dinner either.
Be my friend.
I didn't care about the fact that I didn't have any friends. All I cared about was making it through another day without eating. Yeah, I'm not really sure why either of them like it. I mean, I don't even like it. I was the one who was embarrassed. I didn't want you to see me the way that I saw myself.
When you first got here, you thought that if you ate something bad, you were bad.
I have felt so alone for so long. I didn't know why this was happening to me, and all this time there's been a reason.
I think that I might break.
You do understand that I'm anorexic, right?
Lost myself again, and I feel
I'm not gonna eat a box of freaking chocolate, Leo.
Be my friend.
You wanted me to be normal. I know, but I'm not, and I'm never gonna be.
Hold me,
I'm not better. Okay, I'm not better, and I keep waiting for someone to figure that out, and they don't.
Unfold me, I am some more.
They released you?
They did?
I need you, hold me up.
No, you can't go. You're still sick. You can't just leave.
But I am. This may never get better.